All right. So thank you everyone for joining this morning. We're really excited today to be talking about accessible skateboarding. So my name is Rhiannon. I'm the Goodpush Alliance Program Manager with SEHstern. And before I hand it over to our hosts for today, David and Linda, I just wanted to quickly give a little background on how we kind of first came to this topic with the Goodpush Alliance. And what we'll be talking about today. So back, I don't know, I think it was like at the very start of the year, I was in touch with Linda, who has been working for a long time with some social skateboarding projects here in Germany. And somehow she was wanting to do some research on how to make skateboarding and skate parks more accessible for people with disabilities. She's been involved with different programming, including with WCMX, which is wheelchair skating. And so we got together also with another colleague of hers, Miriam, and we organized the first Goodpush webinar on this topic. So we had like a really great guest panel. We had Dan Mancina, who's a blind pro skater. We had David, who will be speaking today. We had WCMXer, also from the UK, Lily Rice, and we had skate park builders. We had like a range of people speaking. It was really cool. And at the same time, maybe this was already last year, we were running a survey. I think I got the timeline mixed up, but we had two things going. We had the webinar, and then we were running a survey asking, especially like skaters who have disability, to share what works well at skate parks, what's not so good, so that we could get a kind of idea on skate park accessibility. So we basically put together a report from that survey. We can share it later on today in the session. And then we had a follow-up webinar in May with Linda and David speaking about the results, and also taking the chance to get more input from people that were attending. So it was really, really popular, really cool. So today we're excited to be talking less about like the accessible skate parks thing and more about like programming and how we can make our skateboard programs more inclusive and accessible. So I'll hand it over now to David and Linda to introduce themselves. And just also FYI, we're having a Q&A at the end, so you can feel free to put questions in the chat, and then we'll come back to them at the end. So,
So Linda, you want to start to say something about yourself when I open up the...
You're talking already, so you can go ahead, please.
I talk, but I open up my presentation already in the middle of it. That was not the plan. Also, sneak peek. We want to talk about wheelchair skating and adaptive skating, and what you see here is like my program, and that's me. So because in Zoom you never see that I'm an actual wheelchair user, so I show you a photo to prove that I am. And I'm David Lebuser, but of course David is fine here for today and for you. And I live in Hamburg, and that's also where our program is based, but we do stuff in other cities in Germany. We did programs in other countries as well, mainly in Europe. I'm in a wheelchair for 13 years now. What's my lucky number? So this year will be, or this year already was, and will still be good. And especially the summer was great now after Corona interruptions. Skate for more than 10 years in my wheelchair. I was a really bad skateboarder before, but that's another topic. And I do skate classes for wheelchair users since 2013 and founded Sit and Skate 2016. So that's enough for now, because I will talk more later. Just that you know, my wife Lisa is also in the program and founded it with me together. And he's the better looking part at Sit and Skate. But that's, she cannot join today, but when you come to our programs, you will see her as well. All right, So Linda, it's your turn.
Okay, so like David already said, I'm Linda. My age doesn't matter. I've been skateboarding for around 20 years, and maybe something about my background. So I studied pedagogics, and I've been working in something I don't know the English word for. It's Einzelfallhilfe. It's like pedagogical social assistance, more or less. So that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. And then I was able to bring skateboarding more and more into my work life somehow. So I did skateboarding classes at Skatehalle Berlin. And then in 2015, we founded the organization Drop-In e.V. And we started with skateboarding sessions for refugee kids. And then someday I met David, and he kind of supervised me how to start WCMX sessions here. So that's something I've been doing for, I don't know, 4 years, 3 years? I'm not sure. And then every once in a while, we've been doing small classes for people with disabilities. And now this year, I do actually a program which is called Berlin on Board, and that's an inclusive skateboarding program. And I'm going to tell about you something about that later.
All right. So first of all, I want to give you a short introduction into what adaptive skateboarding is. Just as I wrote it down there, it's skateboarding, but with a disability. And there are lots of different people in the world, joining the skate scene with disability, and they would probably not call it adaptive skating because it's still skateboarding. But for me, and there are different opinions, I love the adaptive because you adapt skateboarding to your needs. And it's not only because skateboarding, you know, I don't tell you anything new when I say skateboarding is freedom and creativity. So you adapt it as you want it, and that's fine. But of course, there are some things people with disability need, and so like here in the right picture, Justin Bishop, who's a blind skateboarder, has other needs than I, as a wheelchair user, are, and others like Joel Goldtree here in the left picture. Of course he has a prosthesis, but he can like join most skate parks. Like everybody of you can do it. So, and there are other skaters sitting on a board, and they just, you know, do it like they want to and adapt it to it so they can use it. And that's basically it. So if you have a disability and you want to skate, you have to see how you can make it possible. And so what it needs, in my opinion, are role models like those I showed you, or those I will show later. And it's not only the top notch like those here, Justin Bishop, Joel Godfrey, or before Oscar Laredo, and some more definitely real good skateboarders. But what I love about the scene is that you have different ability levels, so everybody can get the right role model and try to go for what they want to do. So Linda, would you like something to add, or should I just go on?
All good.
All right. So then I come to wheelchair skating, because adaptive skateboarding, of course, first of all, is mostly with a skateboard. So you sit on a board, you have a prosthesis on the board, or somehow you ride a skateboard. But as a wheelchair user, of course, there are people, they stand with a wheelchair on the board, and it's cool. I try it. I'm not good at it. But what we call wheelchair skating is, or WCMX is, to just go with your wheelchair into the skate park and try to do cool tricks. And but for our program, it's not all about the tricks or the progress in the skate park. It's more about things coming with it. So you know it from other, of course, social skateboard programs you do. It's about participation in everyday life, especially for those kids there. It's they learn to handle their wheelchairs by playing around in the skate park. And that's very, very important to being able to participate in everyday life. So it needs, of course, some basic stuff to do it. At first, needs come later. So yeah, they grow self-confidence, of course, by getting better, because even with different disabilities, so there are kids with disabilities, they just, they come to a skate park and they directly go up every ramp, go down every ramp, and they're not fear at all. But there are kids with disabilities who struggle to even make it up some ramp, and it's hard to tell them, just keep trying, because other kids just, they come and they do it, and maybe some of them are trying for a long time. But as you know, when you learn new tricks, when you finally make it, it's the best feeling ever. And that's when they really overcome the self-doubts, because they see, okay, everybody, mostly when you grow up with a disability or you have a disability, everybody around you tells you, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you cannot go in because it's not accessible. And now, after they kept hearing that they cannot do it, they finally proved they can do it. So they're overcoming those self-doubts, they're overcoming those people telling them that they cannot do it. So in the end, they just did it, and yeah, they're growing self-confidence, and hopefully can get it into the daily life. And that's and of course the role model thing is really, as I said before, you need role models, and that's, for me, is a basic need. But I would say, if you don't have them yet, of course, try to find people who are passionate enough to go for it. And it don't has to be the top-notch skater to be a role model. It just has to be somebody who's willing to skate and try, because especially the kids, they need just somebody starting it. So if you go for a session, everybody looks, so what's happening, and somebody just go skate with his wheelchair, and the kids will follow. So that's what I mean, learning by watching. It's just, you need somebody in a wheelchair skating or with a disability skating, and the other will follow. So then what it needs is an accessible entrance to the skate park or to the indoor park. That's not everywhere yet. So that's why I really wrote it down here. So if you have a skate park where it's not accessible, of course, you can try to make easy adaptations, like putting a ramp there, or of course, if it's maybe just a few steps, try to help them up. But in the end, of course, you will teach them that they can do it alone. So it's always good to choose a skate park where they can just roll in and don't need help for just begin the program. So if they need help in the skate park, that's another thing. That's why I wrote Pusher. Pusher is somebody who just push the kids up and help them when they need help. So it's always good to have somebody and they can be really busy. So the kids keep them busy just by, hey, push me up there, because they want to roll down. Of course, nobody wants to push up ramps. That's not the fun part. But so you need a pusher to help the kids. And they will have fun rolling down and trying themselves out in the skate park. And I have the role model thing again. Yeah, that's I put this together in a few hours, so sorry. And also for our program, for our program, we just defined it. It's important to have at least one adult wheelchair user who's at the side of the skate park. So somebody is with the kids in the skate park and somebody's at the side and talks to the parents, because of course a lot of parents are scared. Oh, my poor kids, they're falling, they can hurt and they need help. So you really have to do something about it and talk to them. So that's okay. Kids fall, they sometimes maybe they cry, but it's okay. They will try again and they will be happy when they finally make it. So for us, that is a really important part, to have somebody who can, maybe sometimes also parents, maybe just go drink a coffee, let them be kids. So that's something parents need to learn too from the program. And next thing is, I started 2013 with my first wheelchair skate classes, and we started with, we did an event in Hamburg, we did an event in another city, in Dortmund, in Kassel, and somewhere around Germany. And then it was like annual events. And I came back the next year and I asked even the most active guys, so, and how often did you skate? And they were like, last time when you were here. I was like, oh, damn, that's not what I wanted. I wanted them to get out into the skate parks, because at first I thought I just have to give them, so like, hey, you can do it. And then they just go. But it's not like it works. It needs some progression. And so the program today is really based on a regular program. Right now we try to, we have it in Hamburg. It's in Hamburg now for a couple of years every month. And this year we started to do a second one. So we have two events per month where the kids can just meet with us and skate together. And since then, it really kicked off. They started to be dare enough to go into a normal skate park with all the trouble, with all the elbow thing going on, with all the different people in the skate park and crowded space. So, but what it needed, it was needed to have an exclusive program. Even we are always talking about inclusion, but we need this exclusive program where we offer a safe space for people in wheelchairs to grow their skills, to be finally able to join the normal skate park life. And we really figured out it need to be on a regular base. So regular can have, maybe it can be weekly, it can be monthly, it can be maybe 4 times a year, but it needs some time to get them out in the skate parks. Of course, there are people, but that's just a few who just go from the beginning. But the most kids really need the safe space for some time, because and of course they make friends in the program, and then they are not alone when they finally go into the skate park. They can be there with 3 or 4 wheelchair people, and that's different, because when you go alone, even me, so when I go to a new skate park, nobody knows me. Everybody's looking like, what's he doing? Why is there in a wheelchair? Why he has a helmet? What's going on? Okay, for me, I know this for a couple of years. I just do maybe 1, 2 tricks, and I see, okay, he knows what to do. But when you're there as a beginner and everybody's looking at you, and you're like, maybe I come next time. So it's really hard. Maybe everybody knows you, because everybody of you maybe at one day was the first time in the skate park. So and when you have a wheelchair, everybody's looking at you. When you're there with a skateboard, maybe they look at you, but then they look somewhere else. With a wheelchair, you keep the eyes on you, or they keep the eyes on you. Okay, so for our regular program, it's important to have no pressure. So we don't pressure them to, you have to do it, you can do it. Of course, we say you can do it, but we don't pressure them. So in my opinion, because it's regular based, if they don't do it today, they do it another time. So don't stress, just have fun. And the kids, with the fun, the kids, they want to come. So it's, we also said with Corona, we had to change a little bit, but normally our program is also based on a real low, like rules. So you don't have to say you're coming or not. You be there, it's fine. You can come, it's fine as well. You don't have to say I cannot come, sorry. But that's also for us very important. So people really can or have it's their, they want to come, they come, they don't want to come, they don't feel like it, it's totally fine. And so in my opinion, when we had programs differently with, you have to apply 2 weeks before or so, less people came because people don't know if they want to go skate in 2 weeks. So especially when they're just beginning, I know all of you maybe know that you want to skate every day, but these kids are not there yet. So yeah. And so then some of that I already said, but yeah, the effects are that the participants can handle their wheelchairs better, and so they can participate in life, they can overcome obstacles. And what is for me a very important thing, especially for the kids going to school, they're equal to their classmates, they're equal to their friends, because they are not the kids just with the wheelchair or with a disability. No, they're the skate kids. They are the kids, they can go where everybody else is going. And of course, still accessibility is a need of them, but it's just less the problem because they know if there's the barrier, I learned how to handle it. And that's very important when they just deal with other kids. It's a thing that when you are always the problem, kids will be hard on you. And so if you can handle it yourself easily, you're not the problem anymore. And it sounds hard, but that's kids are sometimes not that charming. So they just want to leave the kid in a wheelchair behind. If this kid in a wheelchair cannot help them, or just is not able to just go with them. So that's also a positive effect on how other see them. So it's not the kid with a disability, it's the skate kid. So basically, yeah, and they do not accept the no, you cannot go there because of the wheelchair, because now they claim their rights. They say, why? I'm just a kid as everyone else, so let me go. I already proved in the skate park that I can, so go away. Don't tell me anything. So this in the end results then that wheelchairs or people in wheelchairs are more visible in the society, in skate parks. And that's in the cities we have a program. It's already nice to see that the skate scene opens up for them, that they recognize them, and that's kind of normal to a lot of people. When you start in a new city, it's like you start from the beginning. So it's so they have to be visible. And just now, and we will talk about it within there maybe a little bit more in the future. Like Rhiannon said in the beginning, the accessible skate park program, or that's something just in the last years or right now it's kicking off. So people realize There are people with disabilities, they want to go skate and they have to be there. It's important that they can be there. So now there are some skate park designs out there making it better for us and for everybody to join the skate scene. So thanks. I think that's it. What I wanted to say, just let me check. And yes, that's something we want to go later. But now, thanks for listening. And Linda, it's your turn. You have a program too. And
yeah. You give me your screen.
Yeah, you can get it.
Where is it? So maybe a quick note about my presentation. I wasn't planning on doing one. I just had a piece of paper with some notes that I made last week, but then last night David showed me his presentation. I was like, okay, fuck, I gotta prepare something. And I'm a pedagogic and a skateboarder and no graphic designer, so please don't be too hard on me. Yeah, so I would like to talk a bit about the program I'm doing right now, which is called Berlin on Board. It's a program about 3 years, I think. We got a big foundation to do it, and we couldn't start on time because of Corona, so we just started in August this year. Maybe if someone's interested, we've been doing some video tutorials on skateboarding before with easy language, sign language, and subtitles, but they're in German. So maybe we can share the link also. And what we're doing right now is structured skateboarding classes once a week for an inclusive group. And I have to say it's an experiment for me too, but it's like we are learning every week, and I would like to share some of the stuff with you and also to encourage everyone to open up their skateboarding programs for people with or kids with disabilities and for everyone. All right. So when I say it's inclusive, I'm saying it's for everyone, but it doesn't mean that everyone has to do the same at the same time. So it's a mixed group, and maybe not everyone is practicing for a kickflip or whatever. Some people are trying to push with the skateboard or going down the ramp in a wheelchair, but they are all together at the same place and they are in one group and they feel connected. That's one thing. The other thing, maybe that's also my personal approach, is that we are not training for Olympics. So if people or kids come and they are like, oh, I want to do contests or whatever, then I refer them to Skatehalle Berlin or whatever. So we do leisure activity and have fun with skateboarding. And then one more important point is that it's all voluntary. So I remember when I was doing skateboarding classes at Skatehalle Berlin, there was a time when like every class, kids started crying because it was forced by his parents to go there and to learn and to progress. And that's not what we are up to. So maybe that's like some points ahead. Okay, maybe on the picture you can already see, David will complain for sure. It's a really shitty skate park. But it's good for us because it's always empty, and that is like we have a safe place outside. Yeah, and then maybe some basic points about the groups, the structure, the job of the trainers from what I've figured out so far. So I would say from my experience, it makes sense to have a group with 10 kids maximum and 2 trainers. And the kids should be at least 6 years, because otherwise it's just, it's a brain thing also. It's hard for them to follow the instructions and everything. And then you're just running after small kids all the time. So that's going to be difficult. The class itself shouldn't last longer than 2 hours. And there should be one big break in the middle. And like we implemented some structure. There's always a greeting and saying goodbye together, beginning and end, of course. And we have a mix between structured and open slots, and always a mix between I call it exercises. I know skateboarding and exercises is a bit weird, but like well-known exercises and new stuff, new tricks. Where's the next one? Who can we help with PowerPoint because it's not going? Okay. That's the next one. I'm sorry. Okay, I just go out of the presentation because I'm kind of lost here. So we had, okay, so that's gonna be the next one. Okay, so I found out about some helpful elements in the skateboarding classes, just like things we tried out, and the kids liked it, and so we did it again. So what we did is we had some slots where we asked the kids, hey, show us a trick with the skateboard, and everyone tries to do it. And that's like, you can see on the picture, there was one girl that like wanted to balance the skateboard on her head. Then if you have a mixed group, like my kids, they are all pretty active, I would say, or not very good in concentrating and listening. And it was really helpful to do breaks where the kids just sit down on the skateboard and listen to what I say, because that's important. Then what I always do, I give an overview, what's happening next. So we do a break, sit down on the skateboard, and then I say the next 3 points, what's going to happen. That's especially super helpful for one kid with autism that we have in the skateboarding class. And what we just tried out and what was really good is we always come back in a circle and meet there and talk about the next steps, sometimes do exercises. And we started that every kid was drawing something on the floor, small picture, and then they were asked to always go back to this place. So that was like a small thing, but super helpful. Okay. Still, it's working again. Then for me, it was a huge question to find out what is actually the job of the trainers in the skateboarding class. And I was thinking the biggest job is just guiding through the class, telling what's happening next. And we are lucky because we are 2 people. So my job is more like doing the class, and my colleague, she's looking who needs help. That's a helpful separation for us. I would say another job of the trainer is translating skateboarding and the tricks so that everyone can understand it. Maybe I have to add, for example, I cannot do sign language, but if I demonstrate with all parts of my body what I'm doing, and I'm like, okay, look at my feet, then I think it's more likely that also a deaf person understands what I'm saying. Yeah, then of course I'm in charge of the structure of the class. I also, I started really writing down before what's the plan for the next time. Normally we don't stick to the plan, but for me it's good to have one, and also for the kids. Then also we give, of course, physical assistance. We have to watch the whole group. Is there some fight? Is there some, I don't know, kids are not nice to each other? And we have to make sure that everyone has fun. I realized what we cannot do is if we have a kid that needs personal assistance all the time, that's something we cannot do in the classes. So we invited personal assistants to join the class, and also, if it's possible, sometimes to try skateboarding themselves. So here on the picture, there's a great colleague of mine with her client from personal assistance, and she's pushing him. He's not able to push the wheelchair by himself, but he's enjoying a lot of the experience of going down the ramp. And yeah, I need the personal assistance in the skateboarding class, or at least because I cannot handle everything. Then it would be like, I don't know, 5 trainers and 10 kids. We don't have the money for that. I'm not sure if you have, but that's something I realized. And now it's not. Let's see. Okay. There are challenges in inclusive skateboarding classes, and I just wrote down a few. So, for example, what to do with kids that are really good at skateboarding and get bored, because we do a lot of easy exercises on the skateboard. So what I do is I give them some special exercises and challenges. I don't know, for example, if the kids are supposed to push from one side to the other, I tell that kid, okay, try it switch. Or just an example. And also I make them co-trainer and ask them to show the exercises on the skateboard. That's something I learned from Pfeffersport, a great sports club from Berlin. And they have a lot of experience in inclusive sport programs. So thanks to Pfeffersport. Yeah, of course, maybe I'm sure David can tell us more about it, but challenges with kids using a wheelchair. One is, of course, the accessible skate park. David, I know you would say ours is not, but for what we are doing right now, it's working. If the group changes, we have to look for another skate park, of course, but right now it's working. But when I made the plans for the classes, I always try to have alternative exercises, not on the board, on the wheelchair then, that I give to the kids in the wheelchair while the other kids are skateboarding. So for example, the kids are pushing and I say, okay, and you try to go from one side to the other, stamping with the wheelchair. So lifting up the front wheels and going down again. Next page. For kids that are afraid or insecure, it's pretty easy. They just get more physical assistance. And also some kids need a lot of time to actually push on the skateboard because they are so afraid. And so I realize it's really good if they are just walking for the skateboard for a long, long time. So one foot always stays on the floor until the kid feels safe enough to get on the board. And right now we've been doing, I don't know, I think we did 5 or 6 classes, and right now everyone is able to stand and push on the skateboard, and that's what I wanted so far. Then of course you can think about every possible disability and how to deal with the kids, but I think the best strategy is just to ask the person or the social assistant or the parents how to best support the kid. And also the thing I'm doing right now, learning by doing and just finding more strategies. I don't know all the answers yet. And I think, I know, okay. That's something I included because David was talking about it. That's a huge problem I have with the WCMX class, not classes, that are sessions, that are open slots like David is doing. But the big problem about how to reach people. And I'm not an expert on social media, but I use social media and I write down info mails and I send them to all different kinds of organizations. And also, like, the next thing I just started doing a bit is that I talk to traditional skate schools like Skateboarding Berlin to open up their programs for kids with disabilities. And I heard that like one school was at Skateboarding Berlin yesterday, and they didn't even tell me. So it seems like that's something happening. Next page. Okay, I'm done. So just that you know, the pictures, I have to say that some of them are taken by Aktion Mensch, the Tilo guy, and the other one by one colleague from SEHstern. And now I'm open for questions, and I think David is too.
Yeah, I would like to add something on the part of wheelchair users who cannot push themselves around. We really love to have them in our programs as well, because first of all, they have a different experience of movement by being pushed over ramps. So that's something also is fun for them. So if they just getting pushed from A to B all the time. It's, of course, it's more fun to being pushed over ramps. So it's not necessary that they can push themselves, but of course we always want to make them as independent as possible. So sometimes parents think that they cannot push themselves, but maybe they can, just really slow. And so we always try to work on it. So that's why everybody can come to us, and we will see where it can go, because my opinion is, from where they are now, there's always a little bit they can progress. So, and that's the thing why we want to invite everybody. And that leads me to how to reach people. That's, of course, it's not easy, even especially if we hope you think now, oh, maybe we can add adaptive skating or wheelchair skating too. So so that's why I made this. We really hope that you want to, but also now we want to have your questions, your concerns, your fears, and we want to talk about it. And we want to talk about how to reach people with PWD, means people with disabilities, just too long. So how to reach them, and maybe how to talk to them, because I know that people without disability, able-bodied people, is a nice term for it, or we always say like walking people, have sometimes problems to talk to people with disabilities. So if you want to reach them, you need to talk to them. So let's talk about it. So we're here now, and if you have questions already, let them flow. We're here to answer and to discuss. Maybe you have yourself some experiences, and let's talk about it.
Yeah, maybe people can either you can raise your hand or you can put your questions in the chat. I know we have a few people here also from SEHstern in Cambodia and in that are working in Afghanistan. So I think Mubaraka and Tina, if you want to share a little bit of your experience too, that would be interesting. But we have the first question here from Cindy. What is a good coach to child ratio when thinking about being inclusive?
Yeah, I think I can say that there's not an answer working for every class. So that's the thing is, the more people you have who need help and assistance, the more coaches would be necessary. So we had like a summer camp, and we had 10 kids in wheelchairs with different disabilities and, of course, different skill level. And we had, I think, 5 or 6 people helping, and that was not enough. It was not enough to give everyone the support and the time they need. So it's hard to say, but at our open skate meetings, we have 10 to 15 kids, and we have 2 people mostly, at least, and that's enough for this program. So for a summer camp, we really needed more, but for our open skate meetings, 2 is cool. And we have the parents. As I said, sometimes you need to push the parents away, but sometimes they also can help you, especially the parents who come more times and they already learned that they can let the kids go. So you can get them into the park and let them push or stuff like that. So there's not the answer you want, but it's just like you have to see, and the more you have, the easier it gets.
And David, that's also what I was saying. Like in my class, I really like to be the social assistance part.
Yeah. So so for our programs, we have mostly in Hamburg, me and another wheelchair skater, the Björn Patrick, is having fun with the kids in the park, helping them there, or just being role models skating ourselves. And then there's Lisa for example, who's talking to the parents or to others on the sideline, and answer questions and stuff, and yeah, bringing topics into the discussion. It's really, really important to have as well. So in Hamburg right now, we are 3 people actually. All right, what's the next one here? Too fast. Is there any article or info about how implement your chair? Carlos, what do you mean? Like implement your chair? You mean like how to make your chair skatable, or you mean how to include wheelchair users in general? Maybe you can define that.
Yeah, which kind of chair do you need to use, or if you can make yourself? Okay,
so we always say for getting into our program, you don't need any special chair. So you just bring what you have, and that's a good start, because sometimes we have skate chairs we can borrow, but those wheelchairs are always made to measure, or at least should be always made to measure. So if we give somebody a wheelchair from us, it's not made for them, and sometimes it just feels better in your own wheelchair. And when they reach a level where you say, okay, now maybe you should think about a special skate chair so you can start jumping, grinding and stuff, then we help them to find a way to fund or to get a skate chair. Or we try if some of our chairs maybe are good enough for their measurements. But for the beginning, just come with what you have, what you're used to. I hope that's an answer you wanted.
Yeah, of course, it's good.
What's the next one? Did you already use an occupational therapist and OT skills to coach sessions or summer camp? Not at all, or I don't know. We had occupational therapists and we had people with OT skills, but because there were volunteers at our programs, not because we said we need them always there. So for me, it's not necessary, but of course, it's good to have people with skills and knowledge. So that can help, but I think it's not really necessary to start getting people with disability into the program or into the skate park.
Thank you.
Next one is just wondering if you have any tutorials or basic tip videos for wheelchair skating to learn, like the Goodpush games booklet. Yeah, maybe we should do a booklet for adaptive skateboarding and wheelchair skating. Next project. But yeah, we want to do Lisa and me want to do a wheelchair skate tutorial, like really with really basic stuff. So it's coming soon.
But you already did some videos, David.
Yeah, we did some videos on everyday stuff, but now we want to do the same on really how to do first things in a skate park. So that it's coming. We are working. Okay, is there a specific chair? Yes, there are skate chairs. There are wheelchairs. Okay, there are skate wheelchairs out there. When I started 13 years ago, there was nothing like that. So I started with my everyday chair as well. And then the first skate wheelchairs came out. I tried different ones. And right now there are different companies doing different approaches. And you have now to choose which one you want to take. But the problem on wheelchairs is always it is freaking expensive. And so that's also a point why I say start doing it with your wheelchair, with your normal wheelchair, everyday chair, and then you will see if you're passionate and you keep doing it, we will find a way to to get your skate share. So and also if you want to start a program, just have, you know, basic everyday chairs, and if you can get skate chairs, that's good. But at first it's more rolling in a skate park. You don't need a special chair for the beginning. Oh, no, it's a longer one. I just want to add that it would be better to teach normal kids to respect kids with disabilities. As I experienced when a new group of kids with disability join a new program like skateboarding or any kind of programs, they look weird at them. So I think it would be very good to teach them how to behave with them. That's something sorry, Dina, if you want to say something.
Yeah, maybe I can just add that, of course, that is also, I see that as my job, running a skateboarding program is actually, it's like a rule that everyone has to be treated with respect, and there's no, I'm missing the English word, but I think like no dissing and also like it's my job to create a welcoming atmosphere. So that's something that just shouldn't be happening. But I think that's also all of our job when we go to skate parks, because there's always like bad behavior and it looks weird or whatever. So I think we also have to be role models there.
And I want to add that that's also a thing we address, but on different projects. So when we have the skate program, like our skate program, it's more or less exclusive for kids in wheelchairs. So that's the approach that we give them the skills to finally join the skate park life. But the other way around, we do it also. Like we do events where we do it together with skateboarding, skate events with everybody. We go into schools with wheelchairs. And so there we have a lot of those things. But the problem is, at least in Germany, and I know in other countries too, but it's very different from where you live. In Germany, you have separated schools. So kids without disability don't meet kids with disability for a long time of their life because they're not going to school together. And most free time activities are not open to kids in wheelchairs yet. So that's a thing we have to change. So that's something society needs to change. And I think social skateboard programs can be a part of it, but of course there have to work other parts of the society as well. So we just can try to do our thing, make things better, but that's a much bigger problem, unfortunately. Ilaria added, so Ilaria is a wheelchair skater from Italy, and she added that also learning basics in your own everyday chair really helps you in your everyday life. So what I said before, so if you borrow a chair, and you can do some tricks in a skate park, is fine. But if you can handle your wheelchair, it really helps you in everyday life. And that's what we want. So of course, we are really happy if we have some kids talented and doing tricks, and maybe someday they be the stars of the skate scene. I don't know. But that's not our main goal. Our main goal is to have happy, independent and self-esteem people in wheelchairs in everyday life and in skate parks.
Sorry, David, I just wanted to mention, we were talking before the session started kind of about this topic of like measuring impact and like what is important to measure. And yeah, you just mentioned things like confidence and self-esteem. And I think this is something that a lot of social skate projects do want to measure, and we're going to have a session on that tomorrow. But you brought up that actually for your program specifically, measuring skills is something that's actually very directly important because of the things you talked about, like having that like comfort with the wheelchair, for example, and like being able to like bring that into your everyday life, also what Lilaria said. So I thought that was just really interesting. And I'm wondering like, yeah, are you now trying to measure this type of skill building, or that's just something you're thinking about at the moment?
Yeah, we just started to make a first try. Yeah, but we don't have any results yet. So in our skate park where we meet monthly in Hamburg, we have like a like some mobile ramps, so we can put them together when we want to measure it, and we can do different stuff if we just skate around. But the problem is, even if this works out, at another city, at another skate park, it looks totally different. So how we can combine those results at the end, because what we want to have is that we can prove what we already know, that the kids can handle their wheelchair better because of our program, because of they playing around in a skate park and having fun. And we have other wheelchair training programs running, but there it is, you know, like you go to school, you have to learn that because it's important, and kids are like, I have my mother, she's pushing me around, that's enough. But in a skate park, that's, you want to go down there, go up there, and they go for it, and they try it, and they have fun, and they learn without knowing that they learn. So that's and we want to find the proof that this is actually working for more than just having fun, but for living a daily life. But that's something we work on. We founded Sit and Skate 2016, and we were just doing it somehow, and now we just started to get fundings and stuff to make it like more professional. But we are still like the same chaos guys, so it's hard for us to get into the topic. So I really hope we can, if somebody can help us with it, we would appreciate it.
There's one friend of mine who wrote, David, you know that, he wrote his final work at university about WCMX and the efforts of mobility in daily life.
Yeah, but that's still like just, you know, some what is it called, qualitative oh my god, yeah,
Qualitative.
It was just some interviews of some people. So what I want is to have it like oh my god, quantitative, what's the English word? Quantitative. To measure it really, that it helps like everybody, so not only a few. There's Leo's saying that it can be measurable with specific tools of mobility program. Yeah, that's something we have now. So we have like different sizes of steps. We have different steep ramps. So we will measure. So when they started, they cannot go up the ramp themselves, but after a few months, they can do it and stuff like that. So that's what we now try to measure. And of course, with some questions, how they see themselves. Do they feel independent, and so on.
Yeah, those kind of programs already exist, but they are not specific for WCMX. There are a few Canadian programs, and I think in other countries. But that's why I talked about OT before, because it's kind of OT works to evaluate the thing with those specific tools. So in France, we try to start to observe, because we don't have any many riders from now, but we try to observe with those kind of tools how they can improve the capacities in the wheelchair after some sessions. So if you're interested, we can talk about it later.
Sure, would be great to talk about it. Unfortunately, I cannot join the session tomorrow because I'm at the skate park planning.
Okay.
But I hope to get some things out of it as well when I watch the recording, and maybe we can talk after it, so we both have some new ideas. Maybe would be cool. So let's see what is in the chat. Many times it is hard to recruit participants because many parents are scared and won't bring the kids. How do you think we can solve the problem? Talking to them on the sidelines really helps, but we can only do it once they are there. And the kids in those families are the ones who really need the program more. I was one of them. So that's Ilaria again. Yes, that's true. So something I realized too is so the kids coming to our programs are the kids who have parents. They drive them to our programs, and we don't have the kids from the neighborhoods. We even don't have a lot of kids from our town or cities. That's a weird thing, but they are driving 1, 2, 3 hours to our program, bringing their kids. And of course, they cannot do every family. But then it's the question, when I go to a school with kids with disability, I see so many kids who would really need it, but we cannot get them because it's like the thing, they cannot go alone yet because they don't have the skills, but they would need our program to get the skills to come alone to our program. And of course, that's a hard circle to overcome. And we talk to schools, we talk to therapists, we talk to parents, and yeah, it's really hard. We have some ideas to go to the schools to make projects there, but of course it's always harder to go to them. It's of course easier when they come to you, where you have all your stuff and all your where everything is. But that's a hard thing, and we really need to work on that. That's true, but it's growing. And we now in Hamburg, where we are running our project for a long time, so for 5 years now, 6 years maybe already. It's we now reach the kids. So it took time, but finally we have other kids than the kids we already know from other things. So mostly it's the wheelchair scene is very small, and you already know them from other projects, events, and it's always the same families. But now we finally, I don't know how actually, but we get into mailing lists of other projects, of therapists, of clinics, of hospitals, and so on. And now we reached those families, and they finally realized that can be good for their kids. And so it's starting to reach kids who really need it. And we just can continue to do it. And of course, if you have other ideas, but we already tried a lot, and it's really hard. And I would love to have something implemented on in the schools, at least for every day. It doesn't have to be wheelchair skating, but for everyday wheelchair skills. So every student in a wheelchair would get a regular wheelchair skill training in the school. That would be my dream goal. That's what is it? The most significant change measurement tool. Okay, we'll look it up. Thanks. Okay, Rhiannon already got it. I would, before we leave, I would say again, we would really love to see more people with disability in the skate scene and making them visible. So if you already have people around you, ask them if they want to share stuff maybe on your social media channels, so other people can see that they existing in their areas, because as I said, role models are important, and we need to make them visible. And if you want to start a skate program with wheelchairs or with other kind of disabilities, we are here. And of course, we will be here even after this. So I really would be glad to help you and talk to you and yeah, getting ideas into reality.
David, I wanted to, yeah, it's interesting. You just mentioned the thing about, you know, something that we can do, like all of us as social skate projects, is to help get images and photos and videos out there showing, you know, adaptive skating and wheelchair skating. And I remember the other day you mentioned, like, in the mainstream that this, especially wheelchair skating, is very new, that it's not seen as being something that should happen at the skate park. And you even brought up that there was like a friend who had some trouble using their wheelchair at the skate park.
Yeah.
Yeah, which that to me was like, yeah, kind of shocking.
Yeah, maybe that's something I can give you with you as well. So if you have skate park projects or new skate parks or existing skate parks, but at most skate parks are rules, and they did not, or they mostly do not include wheelchairs yet. And we just it was not a problem for years now. When I started, I was kicked out of skate parks, or I was not. They didn't let me in because of it's not safe or stuff like that. Yeah. So, but now for over 10 years, we didn't have the problem. But now, one of our wheelchair skater got kicked out of a skate park by the police, and of course that that woke us up again. And yeah, if you can reach out to your local skate parks and skate park planners and cities or whatever have skate parks, tell them that they should include wheelchairs so they not get kicked out. Oh, and then there's Tori wrote that Skate Anima is a great program. I've seen it on Instagram. They have some great adaptive skate setups. So I have to say that Skate Anima, I know them, I follow them. It's a totally different approach. And it's cool to have, to include people into the skate park who maybe not can stand on a board and somehow put them on a board. But as I said, my approach is to make it possible to do. They can do it themselves. So, and I don't know if all of them cannot sit in a wheelchair, but I would love to have this approach right next to the chance of trying it on another way and not be strapped into something. So I don't know. I never talked to them. I just saw them on Instagram, and I always see that they are strapped to something and standing on a board. And I always think, like, could they do it in a wheelchair? Could they do it sitting on a board? I don't know. I would love to have it more open up to other ideas of skating, because that's adaptive skating, adapted like you need it, not do it just one way because somebody thought it would be a good one. Okay, now it's the chat was too fast. We follow hashtags like WCMX on Insta, and we share content on our stories, and people always respond positively. That's true. It's great that the skate scene and other people are totally positive about it now. In the beginning, it was different. It was even when I started 13 years ago, there were skate parks kicked me out, as I said, but it changed. Today, it's positive. I have to feel that most people are really supporting and loving it. So it's great. It came that way. And yeah, we would be glad if you making it visible by following WCMX hashtags, repost it, follow Linda and me and Sit and Skate and everybody else, and yeah, share it so people can see it. And I think that's the way to get other people into the topic and getting them into the skate park. So now we have some longer. Hi everyone, we want South Coast Skate Club. We want to become more inclusive of adaptive skateboarders. That's great. And would like a bit of advice with ramps and obstacles. We are also involved in the past project with clone skateboards as a way of involving young people to help mentor other young users. But we would like to pass the torch to be inclusive of all skateboard users, adaptive or otherwise. Yeah, maybe Dale, maybe you could join the next adaptive or accessible skate park thing we do. Maybe Rhiannon can or Linda can say something more about it. And also, if you didn't already watch our first meetings. They're all online. And of course, if you want, we can come together and talk a little bit. But it's maybe not a little bit too long topic to do it now. So then it's Tin again. Based on my experience contacting to parents who are not really want their kids to be involved in the program because they are afraid of their kids getting hurt. So there should be a lot of communication going on in pageants with the parents. But the point is, accident can be accident every minute, and the parent afraid of trying something new. So how would their kids able to do anything in life? Sharing story of growth could be a good option to share with parents. Yeah, and that's also something we do already. Of course, accidents can happen, and accidents can happen in real life. And when they learn at our program how to fall and how to stand up, they also will be better in everyday life, because they know when they fall, they can say, "Hey, stop everybody, calm down. I'm just in a wheelchair, I just fall out. So breath, I'm good. I'm not a fish. You don't have to put me back into the water. It's cool." So that's something they learn too, because if you fall in a wheelchair in the city, everybody is running at you and want to somehow put you back in your wheelchair. And that's often makes things worse. So calm down, ask them. Yeah. So that's something the kids need to learn, so they can say no, they can say stop, don't touch me. So that's some important part. Learn to fall and learn to instruct people. So next one is, hey, do you have some tips to reach to people with learning disabilities and disabilities other than physical? Maybe Linda, your part.
Yeah, but I mean, it's always hard to reach people, but like here in Berlin, we live in a system of separation, and we have a lot of organizations that work for people with learning disabilities, for people with autism and whatever. So maybe find out what kind of organizations there are where you are living, also schools, special schools, and tell them what you are doing and invite them. Especially for schools, it could be an option to do a skateboarding class there and get some kids outside later. That would be my advice.
Yeah, it's the same. I just had the discussion this morning with another project who work with people with mental disability. I don't know if it's the right English word, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it's hard because sometimes they don't even know that they can do things themselves. They choose themselves. So maybe that's another part of communication. They need to learn that they can say, I want to, or I want not to. Or so sometimes it's you have to offer something, and then you will see if they like it or not. And that's basically it. The rest is just a bit of luck and keep it growing. So also from my experience, if the people, if you feel that not enough people joining, it's the wrong way to just close it. So keep it running because it needs some time to reach the people, and the people realize that they can come, and that's a good thing. So even if in the beginning just 1 or 2 attendees, keep it going, and keep telling everybody. Yeah.
And it's all maybe to add that it's always good to find some, like a alliance, like someone working at a school or an organization, and help to make the kids skate.
Even there came a new question, I would love to, because it just came into my mind. I saw that here are some people from the DIY scene, at least from Hamburg. I saw Finn, Danny, and I think Julia at least was yesterday in the session. And also I got the question yesterday, I think it was Julia, who asked how maybe can a DIY spot also give something to this idea. And so maybe some people of you are doing skate spaces and creating skate spaces. So I just would love to give you the, if you offer a space, of course it would be cool if you think, let one way open to roll in, or do doorways, do smooth ramps and stuff like that. So maybe you can invite people with disabilities to the DIY scene as well, because what I would love to see in the future, when people with disabilities are more included in the skate scene, I would love to see DIY creations from them. So because I think when the ideas of accessibility and adaptive skating get into the creation of skate parks, we will maybe have new ideas we never thought of. So get them going, and would be great to have them in the DIY scene as well. So
yeah, and also have them in the process of construction, right? Planning and construction.
Yeah, of course. When they're not there yet, maybe try to invite some people. When there are some already skating, invite them. Maybe they will giving ideas. And I was happy to shaping my first ramp. It was a great feeling. Just I never did it before. I skated so many ramps. I skated so many DIY spots, but I never did it myself. It was a great feeling, and I think that's some great new part of the inclusion into the skate scene. So because a DIY spot is so more personal and more cultural, as the local skate park they planned 10 years ago and nobody thought about anything. So yeah, include them. So what's in the chat going on here? It's the Bunker, our association that managed the Bunker Hybrid Skate Park in Rome is defining the teaching methodology of adaptive skateboarding for the Italian Federation of Sport on Wheels. As soon as we get to a consistent point, it will be a pleasure to share with you. Yeah, it would be great. Thanks, Maria. And I hopefully can check out the skate park soon. I know that Ilaria was there sometimes, and I saw some footage, and I follow you on Instagram, but hopefully I can try it myself soon. Even I'm more a fan of concrete skate parks because of the shapes you can do. But hey, no worries. I love that you included it, and love to see that. Would love to see more programs actually running. I don't know because more wheelchairs than the people I know, because I think Italy could need some more little wheelchair skaters like we have, and keep it growing. I love it. So next one is Ruby. She's referring to Doyen reaching out to organizations already working with those groups and ask for training to staff teams are prepared and knowledgeable. Perhaps creating a partnership where staff members from the organization can come and assist at skate sessions, or just can be there to help, safeguard, and so on. yeah, of course, I love to networking. I love to networking and get others into it. So that's a great thing. And check what your what your city or your area has to offer, and do it together. That's the great thing, of course.
Cool. So yeah, maybe this is a good point to wrap it up. As David mentioned, we would like to, at some point, we don't have a date yet, but we want to keep doing these webinars we've been doing about accessible skateboarding in general, accessible skate parks, I guess. Yeah, we don't have a date set yet, but we'll keep everyone informed who's been part of these summits and stuff like that. And if you're interested in maybe speaking at one of these, you can reach out to me and I'll pass it on to David and Linda. But yeah, thank you, David and Linda, so much for presenting and sharing. It's been really interesting. And yeah, I think you've given us a lot of good tips that we can take forward into our programs.
Thanks for inviting us. It was great.
And thanks for everyone for listening and asking questions and being open for inclusive skateboarding programs.